Hi, and happy Saturday. If you are out there listening, please feel free to put a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'll wait just a couple minutes to see if anyone else jumps on. Okay, these are the 4 cards that we are going to make today, and they are using the Friends for Life stamp set. Let me get that so that you can see it. Here we go. So it is this stamp set, and it has a lot of really cool sayings on it, which is kind of fun. It's always nice to have something basic like this to send just for birthdays, miss you, or any other type of card kit that you're wanting to send someone, or birthday card. And in addition, we are using this really pretty paper called, I think it's Full of Life, if I remember correctly. I'm drawing a blank. And it just has really pretty colors in it. The shading is gorgeous, and it makes for a lot of really pretty cards that can be used for just about anything. Hi, Anna. Good to see you. So we will go ahead and get started with making these. Thank you to those of you who purchased the kit ahead of time. If you'd like to be included in that next time, if you're not a part of my email list, you can go to my website right here, and it will give you the option to sign up for my email list. And then you will see where I am going to do a craft along, and you can purchase the kit ahead of time and craft with me, or you'll have the video to go back to, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and get started making these, and then at the end I'll show you some other sneak peeks of some upcoming card kits that are really fun. All right, so our first card that we're making is the friend card using the Balmy Blue. So one thing I always try to do is anything that goes on the inside of the card, I always place it behind the card base, just so you can kind of keep it separate. So we'll just set that off to the side for the moment. And I do include envelopes with my kits. So today, and we'll kind of go through this afterwards, but if this is a card kit that you would like to get, you can purchase an order using this host code. There's also a link below. That's my alarm telling me it's time. But you can use the host code, and the deadline to place a $35 or more order is on Thursday the 29th, and then I will ship out the kits next Saturday the 31st. So hopefully you should get those pretty quickly. So usually it takes a few days, but not too terribly long. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is glue down our DSP. And so I like the green glue. I scrapbooked for years before I ever started doing cards. And we always use the tape runners. And so in the beginning, that's what I always used. Well, then as I was having classes at my house, some of my people that attended had a lot of trouble with the tape runners and getting them not to break on them. So I kind of flipped over to the multi-purpose glue, and ever since then, I've just kind of stayed with that. All right, so once we have that on, we're going to use dimensionals to put this piece that is blueberry bushel. I think it looks kind of like a wood stump. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but that's what we'll call it today. So I'm just going to use some dimensionals for that. Try not to make a mess, which I probably will because I usually do. Last night I was working on our club cards for this coming month. And oh my goodness, my desk was a hot mess. It just looked like crazy town. And like someone had just, you know, blown up their stamp supplies. But it was fun. So, all right. So once we have that on, then we're going to take the blue shadow of Friend and we're going to put that on top. I just used multi-purpose glue on the big pieces of the Friend, kind of in the middle. And I didn't really put any kind of dimensionals like on the top part. If you want to, you can. I felt like this held it enough. So, but you can always go back and add that if you would like to do that. All right, so we are going to put this kind of in the middle and try to center it and not have glue oozing out. One thing I do like about this glue is that it does dry clear. And so even if you do see a little bit that comes out, it does dry clear. So the next thing is our small blueberry bushel Friend that we have. And so I'm going to use glue dots on this just because I don't want to have glue everywhere. So I'm just going to pull apart a few glue dots, and I'm not going to put a lot, maybe just a couple. And I try to pick the bigger spots to stick them just so they're not super obvious that they're back there. Sometimes you can't help it, and sometimes I try to pull off like a half of a glue dot, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, I figure if that's my biggest challenge of the day, I'm doing pretty well. So we are going to attach that and try to line it up to where, you know, the blue is kind of, the dark blue is in the middle of the shadow, which is kind of fun. One thing that you'll notice, so this is actually kind of funny. There is this eye and there is a dot. If you will look in your little bag, there is a dot in there. But if you want to cheat, you can use the blunt end of your Stampin' Blend that's blueberry bushel, which is what I like to do because then I don't have to try to put a little bitty dot on that. And you just use that. And it's great because if somebody gets this in the mail and they decide to examine it to see if you glued something down versus used a marker, I'm okay if they discover that I only used a marker because that's called working smarter and not harder. So, and you know, most of us try to do something fun like that so that we don't have to go crazy. All right, so on these hearts, I went ahead and pre-stamped these just because I figured that way it would go faster. And normally the easiest way is if you have the dies also, you can stamp on a sheet of the balmy blue and then die cut them out and they come out a lot better. But since I'm die cutting these for you, it's going to be kind of wackadoodle whenever you get it because some of them, well, none of them will be connected. And so you'll want to have a sheet of paper underneath you whenever you stamp them. So what I did is I glued some of these down and then I put some of these on dimensionals. So we will just start by using our multi-purpose glue and we'll glue down the ones that we're going to do first. And it doesn't take a lot to hold these, which is kind of nice. Whoops. And you try not to smush the glue out like I just did. Sometimes I get a little heavy-handed whenever it comes to gluing this stuff down. It's like I'm always afraid that things are going to fall off the card, so I tend to put just a little bit more than I need to sometimes. And I tried to kind of face them some different ways just to kind of make it fun. I also have some of the white glitter hearts that are in here that are fun. I love any of the glitter papers, and I tend to use them quite a bit if I can work them into my design, just because I think they're pretty and just kind of add a little bit of sparkle to your cards. So, all right, let's see. We'll do these two. All right, so we'll do one right here, and we'll do another one kind of up here. And then we will put one of our small hearts on dimensionals. So we'll get a small dimensional and stick that on the back. And then go ahead and get the rest of these glued down. You can also use glue dots if that makes your life a little easier. In fact, I think I'll do that on these just because I think it'll be a little less messy, hopefully. Should be. Whoops, if I can get it off my finger. And then that way you're not struggling quite as much, or at least hopefully not. So we'll do that one with that, and then we'll put a dimensional on this last one, and we will do a glue dot on this little white heart. All right, so that way we can just kind of randomly, I think what's happening is every time I'm hitting the alarm, it's just snoozing it instead of turning it off. You know, during the week, when you want it to keep going, it doesn't do that. It turns off. But on the day that you're doing a Facebook Live, it decides to let everybody know that you set an alarm, which is always fun. All right. So on the balmy blue sheet of paper that you have in your kit, you're going to stamp thank you, because this is going to be a thank you card. All right, and I will tell you, and I don't know if I have mentioned this on a Facebook Live that you have watched before, but I love the stamps that Stampin' Up! Makes. They just do such a great job of everything is just pristine and easy to use, and it doesn't look messy. And so it's really kind of nice to finish and you look at it and you're like, oh, wow, that actually looks really good. When I first started, I was still doing scrapbooking, and I had never heard of Stampin' Up! This has been probably about 6 years ago. And one of my good friends and I went to a big scrapbook convention that they always have here in Dallas. And I'm going to put this thank you on dimensionals also. But we went to this scrapbook convention, and we decided that we were going to get into cards. And so we signed up for another company's stamp set, where they would send you a new stamp set every month. And when I first got them in and I started stamping, they just looked horrible. And it's like they were sloppy and smudgy. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just not made to stamp. So the first time that I went to a card class, and she's now my upline, but my friend was doing these, and she handed me the stamps. I thought, oh boy, these are going to look terrible. And they didn't. And I was so excited that they actually looked really nice. All right, so that is the front of our card. On the inside, I give you a white sheet of paper with the DSP to cut at the bottom. I did not put a message on the inside of this, primarily because since it's a thank you card, I wanted you to have plenty of room to write your own note. And that way you didn't have something, I mean, obviously you can always alter it, but I just felt like that way you could put your own message that you wanted to put. So, all right, let's see, try to get that straight. All right, and then we will put this sheet of paper at the bottom. And this is just a 5-inch wide piece of DSP by 3/4 of an inch. And so I usually will kind of frame out my white on the inside if I don't do any kind of stamping or anything. I just feel like it kind of finishes off the card. And so we don't have any ribbon on this one, but we can just put these adhesive back dots. I love these. I think these are so pretty, and they're just kind of, you know, the finishing touch, so to speak, on this. I heard a demonstrator that I love to watch her, we'll use some little ones. I love to watch her videos sometimes, and she will say, better to have your embellishments on a card as opposed to having them still in the package. And so that's kind of a fun way to look at it, because sometimes you wonder, did I use too many? But at the same time, it's just kind of fun to use those and make sure that they're on the card instead of sitting in the package somewhere on a shelf. So here's our first card. So it's kind of simple. It's not overly complicated, but it's pretty, and it'd be a nice thank you card to get from someone. All right. So we will move to our next card, which is a happy birthday card. This one is made with the Berry Burst cardstock, which I think is super pretty. And then I'm going to save this for the inside. All right. So, and this one is actually, once you cut your paper, and one of the things that I love about this DSP is the colors are just so bright and pretty. Whoops. And so, once you cut it, it's really nice to get this starburst effect. And so we are just going to glue this down on the center of the card front. So, and don't you love the back of this? Oh my goodness, I almost feel guilty putting glue on it, but it's so pretty. I think it would be a really pretty, just wall color or wallpaper in a room that, you know, you wanted to have Stampin' Up! Paper all over, which could always be fun. All right, so we have that glued down. So the next thing that we want to do is take the white circle that you have, and we are going to use our blending brush and use the Crush Curry ink on this. All right, here we go. And I just did enough of this to just kind of put a little bit of the Crush Curry. I didn't want to put so much that it became Crush Curry paper, but I did want to highlight it a little bit just because it has so many of the sunset colors in this DSP. I just thought it'd be kind of pretty. So it doesn't take a lot whenever you're doing that. Okay, and then we're going to get our Berry Burst ink, Move this out of the way. And we are going to stamp happy birthday in the middle of this. All right. At first I was like, where did my stamp go? All right, so here we go. And the nice thing about circles is you never have to worry about getting them straight, because if they're not straight, you just turn the circle, which is always kind of fun. Some days I feel like I'm a little challenged in some of that. All right, so now we are going to glue the white circle to the berry burst. And so I'm going to use some of our multi-purpose glue again and do that. And try to get it in the center. All right, and then what you're going to want to do on this vine that is attached, so I use the Berry Burst glimmer paper, and I just cut it in half so that you could kind of, it's not really in a true half, but I did 3 leaves on one and 2 on the other, and then that way you can kind of space it out a little bit. So one of the things that I like to do is make our ribbon to where it will go over both sides of the paper. And so the best way to do that is to use your Stampin' Seal. And I'm looking to see, where did I put mine? If you ever, I found it, but if you ever can't find your Stampin' Seal, one thing you can always do too, which is nice, is you can use the back side of tear and tape, because I've done that before. And actually, I don't think this one's going to work. So we may be using tear and tape today, just because that will be easier. This is probably sitting right in front of my nose, because I'm really bad about that. It's like, I know I got it out, but I don't know where it is. All right, so here we go. We're going to show you how to do this in a different way. So we are just going to take this and put a couple of strips on here. Sometimes I do this in my class, because like I was saying earlier, some of them have a hard time with the Stampin' Seal, and so we don't always use that. So then you're just going to peel off the back. By the way, there's a trash can next to me. I am not just throwing this on the floor. Haha. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take your ribbon, and we want to kind of position this, whoops, to where it will give us the overlap that we want. And we can always come back and trim the edges. So you want to make it a little longer than what you really want, because it's better to be longer than shorter. And then I usually just hold my finger up there, and then I will kind of mash it on the back. And then what's nice is we will come back and we will use dimensionals to really secure it, which helps quite a bit. All right. So there we go. So then we're just going to cut this, put that up there, and then we will use dimensionals on the back to kind of hold this down. So when I'm doing something like this, I try to use the large dimensionals just to make sure that they really hold everything down where I want it and put it all in place. And so, and sometimes I kind of go crazy. So you'll just want to secure that and make it to where it's even, so that your circle will be the same height all the way around. Okay, so we'll peel these off. And get the back off. All right. So then we're going to just put this on our card. And I kind of designed this to where you would put it over where the middle of the sunburst piece is, just to make it a little easier. And then we can come back and we can trim our ribbon and make it the length that you want it. There we go. All right. And then we're going to use glue dots and tuck these vines in to where you don't know that it was cut. So what we're going to do is, I tend to use my take your pick tool to get glue dots off, just because I find that it's easier than using a fingernail. Some people can do that really well, but I'm not quite that talented. So I'm just going to put a couple of these on here, not a lot, but maybe 2. There we go. And then we are going to kind of, actually I should have trimmed that a little more, so let's do that so that it's not sticking up. There we go. So then we're going to tuck this stem down underneath here. We have to trim that just a tad. But tuck this in here and maybe put this a little bit on top of the ribbon. And then just kind of tuck it down like that. And then on the other one, we're going to have it coming out the bottom down here. So we'll put some glue dots on it. Sometimes it's nice to take these longer vines and cut them so that you can make it look like the vine is longer than it really is. And obviously it's kind of like an optical illusion, but it just kind of makes it look like, you know, you've got a little more going on there than you really do. So, all right. So, I tell you what, I'm going to reposition this a little bit to make it angled this way so that it kind of looks like it continues down. There we go. All right. And then on our inside, we'll decorate the outside in a second with the embellishments, but on the inside, again, it's just a blank card since it's happy birthday. And we are just going to use our multi-purpose glue and glue that down. And try to get it straight, which is sometimes a challenge for me. And then we will put our small piece of DSP toward the bottom. And do that. By the way, our Christmas, well, I should say our fall catalog is coming out in about a week and a half. And if you have not received a copy and you would like to get one, if you will go to my website, you will see my email address, and feel free to send me an email and ask me to send you a copy and give me your mailing address, and I will be happy to do that. There are just some beautiful items in there along with papers, and I'm actually starting to work on putting together some card kits and some different specials. So be sure to join my email list, and that way you will be the first to receive notice of those. I am planning to do a retreat in a box in October. And we are going, or I am going to feature the reindeer days. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I've already started shopping for some of the pillow gifts, because that's the fun part of doing some of these. So I'm excited about that. But if you would like to get information on that, please go to my website at inkycreationsbylinda.com and add yourself to my email list. And then that way you will get all of the information firsthand. And you'll be the first to know about what's going on. So, all right. So we put a bunch of these iridescent faceted gems. I think before I called them adhesive back or something, which they are, but I wanted to give you the right. All right. So here's our second card. And I just think this is really pretty. It's kind of simple with this paper, but it's really pretty and effective. So, all right. So let's go to our third card. And I really like this one a lot. I love the teal colors. And so anytime I can use pretty peacock in a card, it always makes me happy. So, all right. So this one is kind of a fun fold, but it's not a complicated fun fold, which is nice. So if you place an order of $35 or more by next Thursday using this host code, you will receive this card kit, and it will have one of each of these cards. Everything will be cut, die cut, dry embossed, punched for you, that I'm able to. I'm not able to send stamped images, but you will receive all of that in the mail. If you spend $50 or more, you will also receive an entire package of the embellishments. And in the card kits, I will have enough ribbon that you'll need to make these cards. So the only thing that it will not include are the embellishments, but if you spend $50, then you will get a full package of the embellishments to go with it. So on this card, what we're going to do is take our designer series paper and glue it down to the left side of the card front. So again, we'll use our multi-purpose glue. And adhere that to the left side. Boy, I tell you what, I am so ready for some cooler weather. I've been working on our cards for club, and we're using the More Than Autumn, and it just makes life feel a little cooler, just doing stuff with some of those dyes, which is really fun. All right, and then you're going to take your DSP, that is your rectangle shape, and you're going to adhere that to this piece of pretty peacock. And I just love the shadowing and stuff in this paper. I think it's so pretty. I've always admired people that can draw and paint, because that's not something that I can do. I'm doing good to make a stick man, and even then, he doesn't always look very good. So, all right, so we're going to adhere that down with our glue or whatever adhesive you choose to use. And then we're going to put it down right here. So we want to make sure we only put adhesive on this one side. So I usually will just put kind of a thin strip like that, because that way I don't have to worry about getting it over on the right hand side, because I don't want it oozing out on the other side. So there we go, and just like that. All right, and then we have this really pretty peacock glitter. I was telling you that I really like using glitter paper, so this is an example of that. And we are going to use, I'm going to use a glue dot and put in several places on this to adhere this. You could use dimensionals if you want. Sometimes when you use dimensionals on something like this that's so fine, you end up having to cut them in half, even the small ones. So I tend to just use glue dots, because even with those, because they kind of ball up a little bit, they still give you a little bit of dimension. And the nice thing is, if you're trying to watch your postage, if you're mailing these, sometimes you can get away with not spending extra money on postage if you just use the glue dots instead of the dimensionals. Not always, but I would say probably most of the time. I have gotten to where, because in the beginning I had a couple of them come back to me, and so I've gotten to where I just put 2 stamps on most of them anymore. And I guess I feel like that way I don't have to worry. It's probably a little bit wasteful, but it is what it is. So, all right. So now we're going to use Pretty Peacock ink. And I stamped Love You on this one. And so, whoops. Ink this up real good. Let's see if I can do this straight. As you can tell, I'm still a little bit new at some of these Facebook Lives. I am hoping to start doing more of them in the coming months, especially with the holidays coming up, because there are just so many pretty designs and paper that we can use this year, and I'm kind of excited about that. So I'm going to start to do these. You can watch my Facebook page if you'd like, or you can get onto my email and I will let you know when I'm going to start doing these a little more regularly. But I'm hoping to start this coming month and do a few extras. I don't know that I'll be able to do one every single week, but I would like to at least start doing them I'm going to shoot for 3 times a month. We'll see if that happens, but that's what I'm going to shoot for. So, all right. And then we're just going to make a bow. This ribbon is so easy to make a bow with. It's just really flexible and kind of not really thin, but it's just real pliable and easy to work with. So, all right, let's see if we can get this to look good. Sometimes I watch other people make bows and I'm like, wow, their bows look so good all the time. Well, this one didn't make it. Let's try again. There we go. I started to cheat and make these ahead of time, and I probably should have, but I was just kind of running low on time, so I figured I would do it and let you see me mess up. That way, if you mess up too, you can know we have one more thing in common. All right, so here we go. We'll put a couple of glue dots on this, and then I will trim it up after I get it on the card. That way I get it the length that I want it to be. All right. I just love this iridescent ribbon. It's so pretty. And it's one of those ribbons that it picks up whatever colors that you're using, which is really nice. So like, for example, in this card, you know, it picks up the greens and just the other colors that are kind of shining off of it. But if you put it with reds and stuff, it picks up those reds and pinks, and it's just beautiful. But it's so pretty. All right, so on the inside of this one, it's not, I didn't put a lot on this one. All I did was stamp the pretty peacock hearts in this corner and in this corner. So we are going to use, again, our pretty peacock ink, which I love, and we will stamp a couple of hearts. I really like these. These are just a nice stamp to have to use on whatever you choose to use them with. They just are real simple and easy and pretty and not overly complex. All right, and then we're going to glue this onto the inside of our card. I love these colors too, Anna. I just saw your comments. So last week, if you've had a chance to look at my Facebook page, I got to go to St. George and go to a retreat out there, which was a ton of fun. Met a lot of really, really nice people. But my iPad died while I was out there. So whenever I came back, I've had to order another one, but it hasn't come in yet. So I've got my computer up over here on the side so I can hopefully see comments and answer any questions that might come up. So if I'm a little slow, it's because normally I have my iPad sitting right next to me, but today, not so much. Hopefully, the new one, I have ordered a new one. We have a deal through work, which is kind of nice, where we get points for different things that we do. And so I had enough points to where I could actually order one through work, but I have no idea when it will get here. So I'm hoping in the next week, maybe I'll get it. But in the meantime, I will use my computer and I'm thankful to have it. So, all right, so I'm going to put this other iridescent gem on top of the blue, just because that way it kind of picks up the blue colors. If I put it on the white, sometimes it doesn't pick up as much. So that's one of the things that I try to do, is just see what looks best. But anyway, I love these. I just think they're so pretty in the way. And see here, we'll put it on the white. And so it kind of just puts it on the white. And what's nice about this ribbon is you can see through it, so you don't have to worry about the position of your bow quite so much. So that is our third card. All right, so let's go to the last one. So our last one uses these colors that remind me of the sunset. I just think they're so pretty. One thing that's kind of nice about this die set, if you choose to get the dies, I will tell you, if you get the card kit from me, you do not need the dies. One thing that I try to do is I always try to die cut as much stuff as possible so that you're not having to die cut quite as much. So, you know, if you want it, you know, you're welcome to purchase the dies, but you don't have to have them to put these cards together because of the way I send you everything. So, anyway, so this one has a white card base. Move that out of the way so that I'm not dying for room here. There we go. All right. And on this one, I have our designer series paper covering up the entire front of the card. And I put the pink on the top just because I want the pink to poke through the heart mostly. If you like oranges better, you could always flip it and do it this way and make it look more like a sunset, which would be pretty too. But I just kind of like the pink. I've never really been much of a pink person, but my mom always loved that color. But as I've gotten older, I don't know. I think I just like seeing it more. Maybe it's because it reminds me of her, which is kind of fun. So, all right. So we are going to adhere this to the front of our card. So this one's probably the simplest of all of these to put together, just because it doesn't have as many pieces to it. So the other thing that we're going to do is and you may already know how to do this. This was not something that I ever did very much before. I'm looking for a sheet of paper. There we go. But you can take, which is kind of fun, take your blends, and I use the side that has the feather tip, and we are going to put like some little splatters on here. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm not going to do a lot, but just enough to, that way it just kind of gives you a little bit of a splatter ink. I don't know how well you can see that, but it just puts a little bit of splatter on there so that kind of gives it a little bit different shadowy effect. And so I'm going to use, oh, and before I put this on here, I'm going to stamp Thinking of You, and I'm going to do that in the Berry Burst ink. So, and we're just going to stamp that in the bottom right corner. Another thing that I do send you if you order a card kit is I give you a written, detailed PDF tutorial. And so if you spend the $35 or more, you will receive that in your email as well. It won't come with your card kit, but I will email it to you. Usually the day that I ship your card kits to you is whenever I send that out. All right, so before we put this down, we're going to use our ribbon. And this one's nice because we just tie a knot. It's not even a bow. You could tie a bow if you want to. I designed it to just be with a knot because I felt like that was kind of different. You'll want to not tie it. Well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, I forgot about this. Let's attach our vine, and we're just going to kind of make it to where it's something around here. So I probably should have moved my Thinking of You down just a little bit. But we can have it just kind of going like that. So let's get some glue dots and put down the vine first, and then we'll tie the knot on top of that. All right, and we'll do one more just to make sure it doesn't move on us. All right, so then I'm just going to kind of position this to where it doesn't cover up the Thinking of You, and yet at the same time it gives it a little bit of sparkle. And this is the peach glimmer paper, the peach pie that you can get in the In Color glimmer paper that they have that came out back in May. Again, I love glimmer paper, so when I can use it, I do. I just kind of feel like it kind of makes your cards a little fancy. You know, obviously, you know, so see, one of the things that I just did on this, and it's probably because I'm standing up and not sitting down, but I didn't do a good job of making this super tight. So what I do whenever this happens is I will position the knot where I want it. So in this case, I want it a little bit over to the left. So I'm going to go on the back, and I'm just going to use glue dots and kind of adhere it to where I need it to be, because I'm going to use dimensionals to put this piece on the card front. And so this way I can make sure that my ribbon looks a little tighter than normal. One of the things I love about card making is there really aren't any mistakes. There's just, how do you fix it? It's just a challenge for the day sometimes, which is kind of nice. But see, this way, it doesn't look like we messed it up. It just looks normal. So, and no one's ever going to look at the back. So that's the nice thing. So we're going to trim this and trim this one. All right, and then we'll use dimensionals on the back, and you can see we have this large piece, but once we put the dimensionals on it, it will just kind of fall into place, because I'm going to take a dimensional and just pop it down. And that way it won't even be obvious once we put it all on the card. All right, so now that we have these back here, we can pop the tops off of these. Okay, and then we will put this in the center. There we go. All right, I love this heart cutout. I just think it's so pretty. On the inside of this one, I did not, since it's a white card base, I took the stamp that says, "So excited for you," because on this one, I put "thinking of you," so I was kind of thinking that maybe this is, you know, a graduation or something where someone just got some good news. Maybe, you know, someone just found out they're expecting a baby or something good in their life has happened. Obviously, if you wanted to make it a sympathy card, I don't think I would put "excited for you," but you could put a different message in it, and then I put hearts in the top right and left corners, so we can do that. So we're just going to stamp, if I can do this straight, "So excited for you." And then let me clean off my hearts from when I used the pretty peacock before. I always have this fear of mixing ink because when I'm stamping on my own, I usually clean as I go, but I'm not really doing that here. So I placed that a little higher than I meant to. So I'm going to put these at the bottom instead. So you can put them wherever you'd like, but I think they just kind of add a little extra to the card. And then we will decorate the front. So we will add some of our embellishments. And you can just add as few or as many as you like. I think these are so pretty. I really like these iridescent. I just think they kind of, we'll do one more right here. So, and then you can add a few more if you'd like to. Actually, I think I'll put one more small one right up here, just to kind of pick up some of those peach colors. All right, so this is our last card. And then the "So excited for you." So let me get all 4 of them so that you can see them. All right, so here we go. Set these like this. And then here is our friend, and then our final "thinking of you." So, all right. So those are our cards for today. Again, if you'd like to add yourself to my email list, please go to my website, and you can do that. And that way you will receive emails giving you information about how to receive the kits ahead of time so that you can actually craft with me. And then it will also give you emails on all of our upcoming things. Speaking of that, let me kind of show you a couple of items that are coming out if you are interested. You can get the card kit for all of these, again, for $35 or more by placing an order using this host code. And whenever you do that, I will send you the card kit for free. and you need to place your order by Thursday the 29th, and I will mail these out next Saturday the 31st is what I am planning. If you spend $50 or more, I will also give you a full pack of the embellishments, and you will receive enough ribbon to make each of these cards. I will include that on your kit. The other things that I have going on right now is I have a mystery craft box that is coming out. This is probably similar to like a mini retreat. The deadline to register for this is Sunday, September 1st, and the kits will be shipped out on September 4th. The cost is $58, and that includes the shipping, but you will receive enough supplies to make 2 of each of what I'm getting ready to tell you. So there will be 4 regular cards, 1 shaker card, and 2 3D projects, and you will get enough supplies to make 2 of all of those. Plus, you will get 2 different papers. You will get a half a pack of each of those. You will also receive embellishments, a roll of ribbon, also some twine that will come with that, a full pack of twine, and then there will be also some surprise goodies as well as some pillow gifts that are in there. So it's a really good value for $58, and it will come with a PDF tutorial. And if you have trouble understanding the tutorial, we can always set up a Zoom call. I am more than happy to do that, to go through any instructions that are not clear. Also, these are what I've been working on this weekend, which has been really fun. These are my club cards for this coming month. So I sent out a sneak peek to my club members earlier today, but these are those cards, and they are just really fun. And I love this set. It's one of those that, I don't know, I think you can use it for so many things. But if you are interested in my club, there are 2 ways to get this. You can join my club, and it is $35 plus shipping, so it ends up being, I think, $44 a month. All of the details are on my inkycreationsbylinda.com, and there is a tab for the monthly card club, and in that you can sign up for it. There will also be, I have not loaded this yet because I just finished these earlier today, but there will also be a link. If you don't want to join the club, you can order just this one kit. It is a little bit higher because one of the perks of being a club member is that your cost is a little bit less than if you just order each of these kits by themselves. But there will be a link. I will have all that loaded by later today or tomorrow for sure. In addition to that, if you're a club member, after you've been a club member for 6 consecutive months, you receive a $25 Stampin' Up! Products of your choice. I will email you, and you'll let me know what it is that you want, and that will be sent to you with your next kit. I'm also offering for the September club, anyone who joins between now and September 10th, which is the deadline to get these cards, or to get this card kit, you will receive a free embellishment. So if you join the card club between now and September 10th, I will be emailing you around the 10th to find out which embellishment you will like, and I will send that with your kit. Included in your kits, and I didn't mention this earlier in the other one, but it's the same way with it, you'll get, let me rephrase. In your club kits, you get all of the supplies to make 2 of each of the cards, plus envelopes. That's the one thing I didn't mention on the other one is for the $35 order or more, you do get envelopes for those 4 cards. But in this one, you'll get enough supplies to make 8 cards, and it'll also include 8 envelopes. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, or you can go onto this Facebook post and you can put a comment, and I'll be happy to get with you and answer your questions. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.